Oh, Christ. I was looking behind me then when I started walking and I nearly walked into the bloody sty thing. Anyway, gate. Well, it's not a gate because there's no gate on it. Whatever the bloody hell it is. Anyway, it's another Wednesday Walkie, innit? Right. Not got a topic today. So probably be a little bit shorter video, possibly. I'm just going to talk about what I've been playing, and yeah, try not to walk into any stationary objects while I'm at it. Weather's not too bad. But other than that, it's fine. It's not warm, it's sunny, but it's not warm. It's kind of got that late spring freshness to it. But it is supposed to start warming up a little bit more as the rest of the week goes on. So looks like I'm gonna have to get a new car. I think mine is sort of officially dead now, which is a pain in the arse for travelling purposes. I'm not a big lover of public transport, and having to use it is a pain in the arse. But anyway, there's a robin. Hello. Right. So what have I been playing? Well, I've been continuing doing my Doom the Dark Ages playthrough. I am enjoying it more than Doom Eternal. It's funny, Doom Eternal is like that very divisive game in the series. Some people love it, some people hate it, and then others like me sort of like bits and hate bits. It's kind of a bit of a mixed bag. That's how I feel anyway. I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag. If they'd have cut down on some of the platforming elements to it, it probably would have been a lot better. But when I say platforming, I mean the stupid swinging about. Like I say, I mean, Doom Guy is a panzer tank, not a ninja. You know, he's loaded up to the teeth with weapons. He's built like, he's built like the side of a barn, you know. You drop him in there, and that's what it is with Doom the Dark Ages. He drops into the battlefield and then annihilates. But it's interesting. I was, just sort of reading stuff about Doom, and it is right. Like, they've turned him into a superhero. He's like almost like a Marvel superhero. And he wasn't. I mean, they call him the Slayer. He was the Doom Guy, but he was just, he was a tough Marine. He didn't have superpowers. He was a Marine. A lot of sort of stuff growing up on the bank now. Here. No swans there though. Anyway. But yeah, he was a Marine. He was a human. He wasn't doing glory kills in the original Doom. He wasn't pulling heads off and arms off and, beating people to death with a wet bit. You got the you got the Berserk power-up, which lasted very briefly, and if you're like me, not very useful apart from restocking your health. But yeah, I mean, going sort of physical with it in the original Doom, hand to hand wasn't advisable. Certainly wasn't without the Berserk power up. And even with that, you weren't invulnerable. I quickly learned not to be reliant on that in situations, especially dealing with things that would smack you back. Your chainsaw sort of becomes your best friend on the melee front. But now, in these new Doom games, the sort of glory kills, which if I remember correctly, was introduced in the Brutal Doom mod, and they've been carried over into the main series now. Those weren't a thing. And it was a very interesting conversation about it, that how that has fundamentally changed the feel of the game. And it's right. There's a lot of cyclists around this morning. I've seen more cyclists around here this morning than I have in all the other times I've been here put together. But that's sort of the main takeaway with it, is they have turned him into a superhero. And it does take away from it somewhat. I don't hate it, but the Slayer is supposed to be the Doom guy, but you don't feel like it. Random dog. But the Dark Ages is more boots on the ground. Yeah, you scale up walls. I mean, I don't think I'm quite halfway through the playthrough yet, so there might be some Super Mario 3D World levels to come. I certainly hope not, because I've had my fill of them. But I'm enjoying it more, even though it still does have the whole sort of annoying limited has the sort of limited ammo thing still going a bit, although it's not as bad, has to be said. No. That little dog did not look impressed that it was having to walk. It just looked at me as if, like, can you believe this? What I'm being made to do? That was funny. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I do think it's a good game. I say there's a lot in Doom Eternal I liked. I just hated the gymnastics part of the game, should we call it. I just think, as I say, if you did that in a third person, it would look hilarious. It would look so ridiculous. But yeah, with some people sort of like saying, oh, this new Doom trilogy isn't Doom. Yeah, I get that. But sometimes games have to evolve, because just having the original Doom with pretty graphics has already been done in the mod community. It's already out there. What would you gain by just doing that? You have to introduce new things. You have to draw in new players, and the only way you can do that is by introducing new things. And sometimes that can be a little bit annoying for old timers like myself, but that's the world. You know, they're not selling to us, they're selling to a much greater number of people. So, you know, they're selling to a different generation of people that have grown up with a plethora of first-person shooters. Back in the day, they were still new. So, yep, a tree across the path here, and it's been horses. You can see hoof marks. This ain't clever. Just get over that. Hopefully having boots on helps. There we go. So, but that's the thing, you've got to take that into account. Game devs, if they're not going to bring their own flavour to something, what's the point? You know, the old Doom is still out there with many, many mods and new levels and conversions. I mean, good God, you could just play that from now till the end of time, and I don't think you'd get through them all. So, you know, I don't have a huge problem with changing up some things, but sometimes they can just go overboard on certain elements. And it's like I say, that's kind of how I felt with regards to the gymnastics and the platforming levels in Eternal. The fact that they quadrupled down on it in the DLC shows that, and the fact that they've backed away from it so far in the Dark Ages, maybe they realised themselves that it was a bit ridiculous and not too much fun. So I've been playing that, and so I've been carrying on with my playthrough. Hopefully get some more videos of that up this week. And then, what else? I've been playing Hades on PC. It's a great game. It's a roguelike game. Brilliant game. Supermassive, I think it is, the dev team and publisher, I think. What a brilliant game. Great graphics. Love the gameplay. Even though you die loads, it's part of the game. And you're slowly building up your abilities to make things easier. So it's, yeah, like roguelikes, it's a lot of repetition, but when it's as good as that, it's not a bad thing. I tell you though, the voice acting is superb in it. I have played it before on the Switch a few years ago, but it was on offer alongside Hades 2. So it was like a bundle on Steam. So yeah, absolutely love that game. I know it's been out for a bit, but I've not talked about it before. I'd say really, really good. And then Grand Theft Auto 3, the definitive edition, again, the GTA 3, Vice City and San Andreas, and GTA 4 and 5, they're all on a pretty hefty discount at the moment. I remember when I first got GTA 3 back in the day on the PS2, And I got it before there was any reviews, anything like that. And my God, what a great game. I just remember putting it in and being blown away by, you know, this sort of 3D world. The previous GTA games were top down. And it just felt like something incredible. Again, in that period of time, open world sandbox games weren't that big a thing. There wasn't really that many of them. You know, what they would tend to stick with is you're either running around on foot or you were in a car. GTA 3 combined the both, and that was just incredible. And back then on the PS2, it just seemed an enormous sandpit, or sandbox as they call it, to play in. Listening to the radio, listening to Chatterbox, Laszlo, never gets bored. That's the radio station. I just stick that on while I'm driving around. And the freedom to explore, you know, obviously you unlock more areas of the game as you progress. But the freedom that you have to be able to explore those areas, back in the day, again, it was a relatively new thing. And I just remember being absolutely blown away by it, thinking this is the best thing since sliced bread. And it's aged, obviously, as one would expect for a game now that's 24 years old, is it? 25? It's been out a while. But I will say with this definitive edition, I don't know how definitive it is. I mean, they've obviously improved the graphics, but it's one of them where, did they fix all of the issues that was in the original? You know, because some of those issues in the original were down to the limitations of the hardware. You know, aside from the frame rate and the graphics, what else have they done? Have they improved any of the gameplay, the glitches? Sometimes you just think to yourself, I don't think they have. And that's sort of a bit frustrating, to be honest. It gets to be a bit annoying. As I don't ever think there's an excuse for that. It really isn't. But yeah, I've been enjoying sort of going on a trip down memory lane with that. I think that's been pretty much it, what I've been playing. As I say, when you go into those sort of types of games, they do consume an awful lot of your time. Construction carries on. Probably a bit of jump cut there as I was walking past the machinery. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're building. But, yeah, there'd probably be a bit of a jump cut there. As you get down to the water's edge, this is normally where I walk through like what is like a heat wall last time here. They got like the near to the water. It's like a wall of humidity I walked into, right away up until that building over there in the distance. It's where we come out of. But it's not too bad. Not too bad at the moment. Got a nice sun and water there. Help if my screen was on, wouldn't it? So I could see what the hell I was filming at. But yeah, I enjoy these games, and sometimes it's nice to go back and revisit games from years ago. You know, and you see them on a new system or more modern systems where their performances are much better, and that gives you the playability. Frame rate is always something I think is quite a game changer. I think if you've got a smooth and steady frame rate where you're not got lag or anything like that, where you know, the game's not stuttering around the place, when you've got that, I always think it makes the game more enjoyable. I think when you've got, you know, the frame rates dropping right down, you know, I'm not talking like 60 to 40 or 60 to 50, I'm talking like 30 to 10. I always think that breaks the immersion far more than less detailed graphics, shall we say, or less realistic graphics. Because it breaks the gameplay. And that was the thing with GTA 3, it was a technical achievement on the PS2. You know. And not to the same degree on the Xbox, but certainly on the PS2. And there were occasions where it did, you know, the frame rates did drop a little bit when there was a lot going on the screen, which was understandable. It was never, you know, a big thing to criticise it back in the day. That was just what it was. So yeah, just been like popping a podcast on or something like that, putting that on and playing it in the evenings this past week. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a whole lot of fun. Do you know that, thinking back, I don't ever think I fully finished that game. That's the thing. I finished GTA 5 and 4, but 3, Vice City and San Andreas, I can't ever recall actually finishing them. I got quite a ways into them, but I don't think I ever quite finished them. Probably because I had a lot of other games at the time. And they did get very tough. There were some missions that were had a very strict timer on them, and they can be very frustrating. I've never liked time missions, but yeah, I could see why they're needed in a game like that. But never been a big fan of them. Whenever it's a mission and a timer appears in the corner, I'm like, oh, hello. Probably because if you trace that back to the to RoboCop on the Commodore 64, which for ages I tried to do that level that was impossible to do without cheating because the timer wasn't generous enough, so you would run out of time. Why is the level timed? There was no reason for it. You just had to get through this warehouse. And what was the timer all about? It was just a cheap mechanic to make the game tougher, except they ballsed it up, made it impossible without cheating. And then I think the cheat was that you could walk through walls. Without that, it was pretty much impossible because you had to go up and down these stairs, and of course RoboCop's not exactly fast, so once you were getting up and down the stairs it ate your timer up and that was it. Game over. And then of course when you did get off that level, you found out that the level after it was broken, which is probably why the timer was set to what it was. It was probably to account for that level being broken. That's a bit speculative on my part, but it probably makes a bit of sense. So, didn't work out to be a short video after all. Did manage to ramble on a bit. But anyway, that'll be all this week. It's like somebody's got a drone up there. You probably can't see it. He's got a little drone hovering above the lake. All right, that'll do. I'll call it there. And all being well, I'll see you next week. So, thank you for watching.